Trading's an infinite game that you can never accomplish it. Like you never win. You're allowed to keep playing.
Would you recommend someone to keep a job, or would you recommend someone just go all in?
Don't look at it as you're going to work to make back the money. Go to work because it's allowing you to put risk on in your trading, and your job allows you to put risk on in a risk-free environment.
Dawson Hunslick.
When I had first started, waking up day after day after day, and I'm giving away 50 bucks, 100 bucks. I'm waking up before the sun's up. I'm waking up before anybody's awake. You know, it's 4 or 5 a.m.
Putting the work in just to lose money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this account's not gonna last very long if I keep doing this.
Yeah. Last year, back in 2024, if you wouldn't have been wiring out, you possibly could have lost everything.
Yeah.
What happened, and can you tell us that experience?
Yeah.
Wow, this number really blows my mind. Over 75% of you who watch the show regularly are not subscribed. If you enjoy the show and want to support us, the easiest and also free way is just to hit that subscribe button. This will help us find new and better guests, and I promise you to continue to work at making this show better and bringing you more value. Welcome back, everybody, to Be the Trader. Today is going to be a phenomenal day. We got my man Dawson here, who's been trading for a little over 5 years, and his story is going to be something that you want to listen to because it's going to be so relatable to all of you. So, Dawson, welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on?
It's been
years, watching your show since like those, I was telling you, the brick background days and stuff.
God.
And so it's cool to be on this side of it finally. I don't come out to the East Coast too often, so having a little meetup here is pretty cool.
I'm excited to have you here, man. So let's dive into the beginning. Like, what were you doing right before you found trading, and then how'd you find it?
Yeah, so my first kind of introduction into it, I was 12 years old. I was born in '99, so it would have been somewhere around 2011. I was big sports. One of my teammates on my baseball team, his dad was starting a startup called Nanotech Securities. It was trading on the TSX. I was getting in before it went public. He was coming to baseball games, asking other parents and looking for some startup money. My dad had given him some money, so I had some savings at 12 years old, and I gave him like $700-800 bucks, something like that. And once it went public, my share price was like 60-70 cents. Went public, opened at $2. And at 13 years old, making a couple $1,000s for not doing anything was the little bug.
Yeah.
And then kind of diving into the trading side of it was because Sykes had wrote his book, The American Hedge Fund. And in it, he had said that he invested in a friend's dad's company with his print-at-home ticketing. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll start listening to this guy. We have a similar kind of story. So 12 years old was my initial investment.
Yep.
And then I started learning from Sykes in like 2018, 2019. He got me into trading.
Yeah.
I didn't learn a ton from Sykes himself.
Yeah.
But it introduced me to a lot of other people in the industry.
Like who?
So 2019, when I had started trading, day trading, put a small account, 3K, 5K, and was just trying to find a footing, trying to figure out where I was. And within a few months, Sykes was coming up. I'm from Vancouver, West Coast, Canada. And he was coming up with Huddy, was his special guest. They were going to do like a 3-day event with lunches and dinners and that sort of thing. He called it like his inner circle. So I paid him like $2,000 or something for 2 days of in-person coaching, live trading, that sort of thing. But I was the first one to show up before market open. I was the last one to leave. I'd stay for as long as Huddy was going to stay there. And he appreciated that sort of work ethic.
Yep.
3 days later, he gave me his phone number and said, he was living in Arizona at the time. He said, if you're ever in the area, I'm in an office with Roland Wolf. So come on down and, trade with us for a week or so, and we'll teach you the ropes kind of thing.
Yeah. We cover a lot of information on trading here on Be the Trader, but none is more important than the broker you choose to execute your trades. There are many reasons I use Cobra Trading every day, including multiple order routes where I can get fast execution, great availability on locates for hard to borrow stocks, and fantastic customer service. But don't just take my word for it. Both Benzinga and Forbes Advisor have awarded Cobra for best in class for short selling and day trading. Isn't it time you choose a great broker that you'll enjoy working with? Sign up now by using the link below, and Cobra will give you 100 days of free commission, 3 months of free software, and 33% off commission for life. I know you'll be as happy as I am when you trade with Cobra. Now let's get back to the show.
Mhm.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Because first off, so many people are always commenting and asking questions like, "How do I find a mentor? How do I find a mentor? How do I find one?" Here's a great example of just putting all that work in, being there, staying early, leaving late, just like kind of like a real job, right? Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
trying to show that you're trying to make this happen, and he saw that in you. So what happens when did you end up going? Did you take
I
the
did. I went a
offer?
few times.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. I was like, worst they can say is no.
Yeah,
Like, he offers it once, but I'll take it as much as he's gonna give it. So he was there for a few years.
Yeah.
Arizona is a frequent spot for Canadians, so snowbirds they call us.
Yeah.
A lot of people fly down there for 6 months or something. So I'll usually do 2-week trips, like a couple times a year.
Yep.
And he was maybe 30, 40 minutes from where I usually stay. So I'd add a week onto my trip, and we'd go and hang out in the office. We play basketball, go golfing, do whatever. So I was in their little trio down there, and we just hang out, got to know each other to the point where if I pick up the phone and have anything, they'll answer and help me out with whatever I need.
Did that in person with traders, did it help you? And if so, how?
It's That's a good question, because I've always been one where like I like the networking stuff. Like I always feel like trading itself is such an individual endeavor where you need to figure out what works for you.
Mm.
So I've always liked meeting traders. Even when I talk to them, I'm not always asking trading questions. I just like to know them. I like to hear their stories, hear stuff they went through, tell me their mistakes so I don't make those same ones. And just having those people in your back pocket that if you're down and out having a bad day, they're there to pick you up and also give you those pats on the back when you're trading really well. And I think it's cool too having friends all over the world that you can fly to anything in Europe, in the States, in Canada, in whatever. So all these little trader meetups and stuff. I just like knowing people
Yeah.
and hearing their stories. For the first few years, I was pretty like lonely and kind of I didn't put my face out on Twitter. I had a Twitter account, but it was just that stock page. I never had my name put out anywhere. I didn't want anyone to know. I'm like, if I make money, I don't want anyone to know who I am or
Yep.
and that quickly changed once I started meeting these guys and was like, that's really cool. I need
Yeah.
to start meeting more people. So I've always come at it with like a give first mindset, meeting
Yep.
guys like Nate. I do construction as well, like a full-time job, part-time trading kind of thing.
Yep.
And with Nate doing all of his renos and builds and stuff, I can provide value to him in that side of things. And
Yep.
then he's open to share things with trading. So yeah.
So that, I love that you shared all that because it just shows, number one, there's so many things, there's so many paths I want to take with that. But the first path we're going to go down is, when you take advantage of that, you go and hang out, right? And you all played golf, and you emphasize that you like to get to know the person and really like lean into the person themselves, right? Which I'm sure is much appreciative because most people are always asking questions about trading, right? But at some point, were y'all diving deep into trading and did that? I know you said it's an individualistic thing, but were there some things that you were like, you realize in those moments that maybe you took back home with you? Just curious.
Yeah, with like Huddy's always been really close with Grattani.
Yeah.
So he was like a direct route to getting info from Grattani. He's like a veteran at this point. And he got me into trade tracking. Huddy was like, track my trades. You don't know what you're good at, what you suck at until you start putting data behind it. And then once I started finding out what I was good at, I started tracking those individual setups and putting data behind it. I was always fairly risk averse. I wasn't like a go all in type of guy. I wanted to dabble. I wanted to get numbers behind it. I'm a big numbers math guy. So if I could see that this setup worked 80% of the time, then I wouldn't have a problem putting money behind it.
Right.
But if I just saw it and I'm like, hey, let me try and trade it, I didn't have the confidence to put any capital into it. So Huddy never told me like how to track,
Yeah.
but he like put those little pieces out there for me to figure it out for myself. What do I need to track? Where am I good at? He didn't tell me what to trade,
Mm.
but he told me how to get to where I would find out what to trade.
Mm.
Roland, and that's the thing is like you take these little things from everybody that
Yep.
make your style, your
Yep.
strategy. With Roland, he trades a lot of day one gappers,
Yep.
like reversals and stuff. And with other setups, that same entry criteria works.
Mm.
So I'm not trading a whole lot of day ones, but other daily chart patterns, I'm using his exact same entry criteria that he explained to me. It's
Yep.
not on that specific day,
Yep.
but I took that home because now I can put data behind this. If I enter on a 5 minute high break and risk the lows, how often do I get stopped out? How often does that continue to run? And then once I can see that usually continues to run on this specific pattern,
Yep.
now I can start putting money behind it and have some confidence in it.
So how long did it take you to find, 2019, you hang out with Huddy, Roland, right? At what point did you start to see some kind of consistency in your
It
trading?
was I was kind of lucky to start learning some stuff right
Yeah.
before COVID
Yeah.
because I wasn't an idiot now going into it. I had a year under my belt. So I took like 14, 15 months or so of losing.
Hmm.
When I had first started, I was like full account, like 3K account. Like I'm
Yep.
not going to grow it unless I go all in kind of
Okay.
thing. So I just put the full 3K, 5K into the stock and I'd lose $300, $500. I'm like, this account's not going to last very long if I keep doing this.
Yeah.
So I sized right back down. And over like those 15 months, I lost like a total of $700, 800
Okay.
bucks
So
at the
yep.
bottom. Super small. I was still working at the time in
Yep.
construction and stuff. So $700 over a year and a half while still having a job to pay
Right.
anything I need. It was super non-stressful. And then March 2020 came around. February 2020 was that massive crash in COVID for the SPY and stuff. And then that's when small caps started getting picked up. January, I was in Arizona, January 2020, with Roland at one of his in-person events.
Yeah.
And he is like a huge sector momentum guy.
Yeah.
And he picked up on NVAX,
Mm.
mRNA, like the day that there was cases not only in China, but like the first case in Washington. And he started reading the news and he started buying NVAX on day one before like any of this happened, like months before stuff started ripping. So seeing his process on that. But yeah, it was about March 2020. And it wasn't anything crazy. I think I made like 2K that month.
Yep.
But 1 month to take out 15 months of losses
Yep.
was like proof of concept.
Yep.
It wasn't all straight up from there. 2023, I believe I was red.
Yep.
It was a tough year talking to those other traders, down and out. I need to bounce some ideas off and see what I'm doing wrong. So I was red on that year, but overall trajectory's been on the right path since March 2020.
Yes.
Consistency wise, I think 2024 was my best year. It was like month after month starting to put the pieces together.
Yep.
But starting to, like seeing that it's possible
Yeah.
was what I needed to start trusting myself in what I'm doing.
Yep.
Because before that I was questioning whether it was ever going to work. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Because it's challenging, and speak on the idea of going back earlier on what you were sharing all this information about. You mentioned a couple of times working. You say, do you have a construction company or a what is it?
Yeah, I'm self-employed. I have a small construction company. It's just me.
Okay.
I do a lot of renos, kitchens, bathrooms, that sort of thing. My dad's been a general contractor doing like new builds,
Yep.
management stuff. He started when he was like 18 in the
Mhm.
same field. I had uncles that were big real estate developers and investors and stuff. So it felt like a natural progression for me to go into it. They all loved it. My uncles, my dad, they all loved it. I had started sweeping sites for my dad when I was 12.
Yeah.
Going into high school, he said, you're going to get a work ethic and you're going to learn the value of a dollar. So I started working full time in summers, Christmas break, that sort of thing.
So that's how
Um,
you had the money
yeah,
to do that
exactly.
first investment.
Exactly. And
Wow,
when
what
I
a
was
cool. That's
12,
cool.
yeah, it
That's because I was
was
curious, like, how did you come up with that money? Because I was
$700.
12.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's a
that
lot.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's interesting though, can you talk on the fact that you made a great point. I traded for 15 months. I didn't win, but I tracked everything and I traded very small and I had zero stress
Hmm.
because you had income coming in,
Yeah.
right? How do you feel like you could have found consistency if you had no income, like if you just went cold turkey and just tried to do it?
It might have found consistency, but like the dollar progression, I think would have been a lot slower
Hmm.
because if I've got no money coming in, that money took the stress off that if I wake up and lose 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks,
Yep.
I'm going to go to work in a couple hours and make that back.
Yep.
So it was never a worry for me to put risk on. When I had that job, once I had the data in the back of my pocket, but that's the tough part too, is it's like it's a question that I wonder,
Yeah.
but you don't know the alternative. So like I playing baseball and stuff growing up, if I continued doing it, would I have gone anywhere with it?
Yeah.
If I didn't have a job, would I have, you know, found profitability quicker? I don't know. That
Yeah.
was just the path I took. So it's hard to say, but
Would you
it's
recommend someone to keep a job or would you recommend someone just go all in? Just curious. Do you have an opinion on that?
yeah, I'd always have a job.
Yep.
Again, back with tracking my trades, I think it was like 89% of my money was made in like the first hour, hour and a half of the trading day.
Hmm.
And being on the West Coast, market opens 6:30. So if I don't want to start work till 8 or 9 o'clock, I can trade that first hour and a half. And I'm not going to be doing anything the rest of the day because statistically I lose money the rest of the day.
Yep.
So I'd just be sitting there, likely give money back. And yeah, it was I was trading the open. That's where my money was.
So instead, what you're saying is if you have other ventures or other ways of generating income, why not? So where you're focused on where you make money on that small time period,
Yeah, yeah.
and you free yourself up to make money elsewhere.
Well, and back to like stories, the guys that you
Yeah.
meet in Vegas. I talked to Nate, who's trying to. He'll never retire. He's
Yeah.
addicted to this, but he's trying to put his money elsewhere, make passive income, so he doesn't need to trade so much. So he doesn't want to trade full time now. He wants to trade part time and start doing this other stuff.
Yep.
Where he was diving full into it, 2 feet in. So, what is the right answer? I don't know. I think that's the individualistic question that
Yep.
what works for you and do that.
What was the hardest part for you? Was I know you mentioned several times about the numbers, and until you got the numbers, that's when you felt much better. So I definitely know that was a key part for you to really start to see consistency. But was there another part that maybe you were a bad revenge trader, maybe you were XYZ that you were struggling with that you can share and how you got over it?
Yeah, my hardest thing was just pushing the buttons.
Hmm.
I work in a physical job. I knew the value of a dollar,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna lose that amount of money this morning, and it's gonna kill me that I need to go to work now, work a 10-hour day to try and make that money back.
Yeah.
That was easily the hardest thing for me was just to be able to push the buttons.
Yeah.
It was hard to get over that. I had asked Lance in Vegas for that exact thing, and he said flip your flip your mental state with that and don't look at it as you're going to work to make back the money. He said go to work because it's allowing you to put risk on
Hmm.
in your trading. He said don't look at it as one big account. Like this isn't all your trading account is one thing and your job allows you to put risk on in a risk-free environment basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that helped a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then having the data on the back end of
Definitely.
because pushing that, but even like 100 shares,
Yep.
I was like, I don't want to lose 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Like that's
You're like,
that's
"I ain't
gonna
trying to
piss
lose,"
me off.
yeah. So speak on that in terms of because people don't want to lose money,
Yeah,
right? And you mentioned earlier that for 15 months you were losing, but the value that I see and that people who are watching now see is that you tracked everything.
yeah,
And that's really where all the value came from, and
yeah,
you use that data to find consistency. But what I'm curious about is for all the people who really don't understand that this is a game that you're probably going to lose a lot.
yeah.
Can you shed light on, how losing is kind of like part of this life?
Yeah, I had like 800 trades in that spreadsheet
Yep.
over those 15 months that when I sorted them all by setup, listed breakouts, morning panic dip buys, everything. 15, 20 setups I was trying to trade, trying to do everything. Anything I saw someone else trading, I'm going to try it.
Yep.
But I tracked each one of those and there was 4 setups I was making money on. So
Mhm.
I'm like, why am I doing these other 15 things if this is where I'm making money?
Yep.
But I had to trade for that year and a half to get those 700 samples.
Yeah.
So if you're not tracking it, I do think losing over and over again could be a waste of time if
Yeah.
you're not taking anything from it. But if you're losing for a year and a half and then can take little tidbits from it, then I don't think it's bad at all. Especially if you keep it small in the beginning.
Yep.
Take a month to make it all back.
You also mentioned I thought I was never gonna make it at some point.
Yeah.
Take us back to that memory and what was that like? Because I know there's people out there right now who are probably feeling that, right? They're probably going through a part in their trading where, man, I just keep booming and busting, booming and busting.
Yeah.
Can you relate to them for a moment? Just share, one of those moments you had.
Yeah, like the realization I came to was the previous me would have killed to be in the position I was at that point. I would have, when I was first starting, I would have loved to know where I was losing money to stop doing that. And then once I started making money, I would have killed 15 months ago to make $100
Mm.
just to make that little bit of money. So I kind of put it in perspective that where I was now, I would have loved to be in the beginning.
Mm.
It's trading's an infinite game that you can never accomplish it. Like you never win.
Yeah.
You're allowed to keep playing, and
Yeah.
that's
How
winning.
funny is that? Yeah.
So thanks. Yeah. But there wasn't ever like one thing. It was just like waking up day after day after day, and I'm giving away $50, $100, and then I'm gonna wake up and do it again. I'm waking up before the sun's up. I'm waking up before anybody's awake. It's 4 or 5 a.m.
Putting the work
and
in just to lose
putting
money.
yeah, exactly. At nights I'm scanning stocks and then I'm just donating it away. Oh my God, is this ever gonna end? And you don't know.
You don't.
You could do that for 10 years.
Yep.
There's what's his name? Inefficient Market, I think
Yep.
Nico,
Exactly.
where he
10
lost
years.
like yeah, 8 years,
Mhm.
10 years, something like that. But he just kept going
Yep.
because and look at him
And look at
now.
him now.
Now
He's
he's a
killed
great
it.
trader. So
Yep.
my recommendation is just to never give up.
Yep.
If you keep that job, you don't have to give up because you've got the income to pay the bills. Continue trading small until something starts to click, and then start to size up from there.
Is there do you strictly just focus now only on day trading, or do you swing trade too? Because I know how you also own a business. So, like, do you do you swing trade as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. I've got 3 accounts. So I have a day trading account. I have a tax-free, like in the States, you guys have
Yep.
IRAs. In Canada, we have a TFSA,
Okay.
tax-free savings account. Most people don't know that you can self-direct those.
Mm.
So a lot of times they'll just open up a TFSA account at their bank. You'll get a 3% interest rate over the year, and they'll loan out your money and make way more than that. So like I use Interactive Brokers for my long-term stuff. So I have a TFSA, and then I have a long-term, like a swing trading account.
Yep.
And with my day trading stuff, I wire out as often as I can. So I keep my account in that 30 to 50K range
Yep.
just because I don't want to have that one black. So I had that last year where if I was holding it and fighting it, the account would have been gone.
Mm.
So I don't want that to happen. Years of hard work can disappear like that. So I wire out and I keep it in the market. Buffett always says time in the market's better than timing the market.
Mm.
So I just cost average every month, every 2 months, and just buy long-term stuff from my day trading gains, just roll it into that.
You know what's interesting? You just said something that really struck me. Earlier, you mentioned back in like last year or back in 2024, if you wouldn't have been wiring out, you possibly could have lost everything.
Yeah.
What happened? And can you tell us that experience?
Yeah. So 2022 and 2023, a big strategy I was trading was the China scams.
Okay.
They were WhatsApp and Telegram pumps. They'd tell people to buy and they'd dump them within a few days. and they'd be down 80, 90% by the close. And they were like a lot of liquidity. They were 80, $100 names.
Mm.
They weren't like 50 cent pulling back to 10 cent. They were like $100 pulling back to $3. Like there was like a lot of meat on the bone with them.
Mm.
AERC, LYT, there was a ton of them. They kind of dried up towards the end of 2023, and one of the pumpers came back in 2024, and he gave two that were pretty good. He thought I was long in them. I'd make fake screenshots and send them to him, so he thought I was buying them just to keep the info coming.
Yeah.
And I'd be shorting them as he's promoting them, and it was UPC and CLEU were the two lower price
I remember
ones.
CLU.
Yep, that one's happened like 2 or 3 times, and they worked like crazy. And then Chasen came around, CHSN, and he alerted that one at $3 and then 420, and it popped up. It's got no volume on this daily. Starts trading right off pre-market, right off the open, trading hundreds of thousands of shares, like completely out of normal for this. Typically, they fill their short book into some sort of pop. They'll take out opening range lows or something like that, and pops versus VWAP you want to see stay heavy, and they fade off to oblivion. Chasen was different. It didn't work. This setup was like a 90% win rate. They always worked, and the ones that didn't work barely went up. And Chasen, yeah, it was sitting there at $3-4 for about an hour and a half, and they usually fade off by close. I started getting ready for work. It's about 8 o'clock, and I come back to the computer, and this thing's halted up from 3 to 450. And my risk was like I was in at like 350, 360, risking $4.
Oh, okay. So you're already
this,
yeah.
I'm down, a decent chunk.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, let's see this thing open, and I'll get out. Well, this thing opens at 6 from that halt. So I'm in this from the mid threes, and it's going up. And now I'm starting to think, now like emotions coming in.
Yeah.
I've got shares left. I borrowed like 4K, 5K.
Yeah.
And I think I had maybe 500-600 shares in at that time. And it starts skipping up, and then it opens and halts up within 2-3 seconds. And now it's 6 to 8. And I'm in this thing at $3. And I'm like, okay, this is starting to get away from me. And then it opens 8 to 11 and halts just like that. And it's just.
And you're not pressing cover yet?
You can't. I'm hitting it, and
you're
it's
hitting
halting.
Market? You're hitting.
I was limit.
Okay.
I wasn't hitting market. But I've never been in this situation before.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I have been. I know it sucks.
Yeah. iLag did it. Top did it. And these were China pumps, but they were a bit different. They weren't rooms that had proof of concept, but they were China pumps, iLag and top, that squeezed like crazy. But there was certain groups that did better. Like back in the OTC days, and you have like awesome penny stocks and that sort of thing, there were certain groups that performed better. So it was the same thing with this. iLag, I know, caught a bunch of people halting, but so Chasen, I eventually was like, do I add to this? Like, I've got another couple thousand shares. I could fight it. Like, it's not a blown account to like 40, 50. It was just at $3. Like, I got room, and I start trying to justify, like, how can I get out of this? And I was able to think logically in that moment, and I put in a market cover order, and I closed the laptop and left. I didn't want to see the P&L.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to take me out whenever there was a long enough time to fill some shares.
Oh yeah, you didn't even take out. You just put market and just
put market order during a halt, and I'm like, I can't stomach it. It's if this thing opens 20, 30, like that's gonna suck. After hours, it went to 40, 50, which was that blow up point. And that was the realization that, like,
you were already out though.
I was out by 10, 11, something like that. That last halt before I was leaving, that went 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. It opened like in the 10, 11 range. It pulled back from 10 to 11, and then into after hours started ripping like 40s, 50s. So if I did fight it, I would have had to refund, and it would have really sucked and set me back quite a bit. But it was a good lesson for me that I can handle larger P&L drawdowns. That started.
Isn't that interesting?
crazy. That started like the sequence of me starting to size up
Isn't that
was this
crazy?
huge loss because I'm like, I was able to step back right there and think logically through this trade. And yes, it sucked, but I was back the next day, like trading, market open. I was like, that was an outlier. That's not typically what I do. If I market it, if this halts up, then maybe I put in a rule that one halt up, I cover if that ends up being the top, but at least I'm not at risk of a blow up or something like that. So it put safeguards in place.
Yep.
Um,
Creates new
I
rules.
I always talk to Nate trading these China scams and stuff, and he was always warning me, don't go bigger and bigger and bigger because one of them's going to catch up. Like people started trading these, they were super like not crowded for a really long time, and then people started trading them. So he goes, they're going to catch people off guard one of these times where they pull SSR and they can see everything stacking up on the offer. They know we're shorting, and then they can have complete control of it. So he's like, you need to put a max stop. I'm like, no, my risk management's solid. Like, I don't have big losses. Like, so then I send him a screenshot of this trade, and he's like, told you so. So that was definitely a
That's a
crazy
oof.
thing. Yeah.
That sucks, man. I appreciate you sharing that though, because you took me back in the history where I got like deer in the headlights and I froze and you think it never happened, and that's why I always use stop markets.
Yeah, yeah.
No doubt. I have
Okay.
to use market stops because I just don't want to be in that
Yeah.
situation again. Because you're right, like you made a good decision and you put your order in, left away, but a lot of people would have done the opposite. They
Oh,
would have
yeah.
been like, I'm gonna try to finagle this.
And that's what I was thinking.
And it happens. I
Yeah.
mean, and you start to think, okay, I've been training for a while. I know how to.
I'm
can get out of
4
this.
years in.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm
I can
doing.
manipulate this. Let me figure out what I can do here. I only
I
have
know.
500 shares.
Yeah.
I can top tick this with 4,000 more, and I'll immediately be
If
a
I hit
good
this
average.
at 20, my average is now 18.
Yeah, I'll make money. Well, look, Dawson, look, man, your story, I really appreciate you sharing it, man. I know people are going to relate to this 100%. And I know there's going to be some who want to reach out, may ask questions. How can I learn more about you?
I trade live in IU every day. Sometimes I hop on the broadcast. Sometimes I do
Oh,
Sunday
cool.
scan, that kind of thing. Every evening, Monday to Friday, I have my own little YouTube channel. It's only got like 600 subscribers.
Yeah.
But I go live going over my watch list every evening. I am on West Coast time, so it's pretty late for the East Coasters. But yeah, I'm live streaming on there every evening, and we've got a few.
What's the YouTube called?
I think it's just Dawson or Dawson D22 or something like
Okay,
that. I'm
okay.
D22 everywhere. My Twitter is D22_123.
Okay.
In IU, I'm D22. So it's either Dawson or D22, something like that. But I could send the link over, and yeah, we could get it in there.
Perfect. Well, look, man, I appreciate you so much being here. And everybody who's watching us, make sure to share this with another trader friend and send it to somebody else or rewatch it, because you're about to pick up even more tidbits. Because when you rewatch something like Dawson just shared, you're going to pick up even more things that you didn't hear the first time. So thanks, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for finishing today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment below of one of the takeaways that you are going to implement into your own trading. And if you happen to be listening on a podcast platform, go ahead and leave us a review and let us know what you enjoy about today's episode, because that does go a long way in helping us continue to grow. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.